I think maybe a little bit more on Lamont. If you could explain maybe one of the high points in your journey to owning two restaurants, and maybe one of your lowest points.
It's oh man, there's so much ebb and flow.
There is.
It's like
Which one?
exactly, yeah. Which one, which year, which time?
Yeah.
I think to me the highest point in my career as a restaurateur is twofold. It's the retention of my staff and being blessed with really good staff, but also being able to balance my family life as a chef and as a restaurateur. Those two things are huge. I look at my staff as family, and my family's my family. So it's just like that's what's important to me, and I think that's the highest for me is being able to take care of the staff and take care of my family at the same time. I think my lowest point as a restaurateur is losing really good staff members.
Yeah.
Because anything else, when people talk about low points, it's like you have to be blessed that that's a low point for you. Because for some people, that's a high point.
Yeah.
So I really don't look at low points as low points. I just look at them as like learning points, and where to change so I don't have to do that again or get there again.
Wow.
So it's, yeah, man, I just feel 100% blessed, meeting my wife, having my daughter, having my son, being able to partake in this journey. Like having a journey, you can't consider any low points because you're given a beautiful journey. So
I love it, man. So, you talk about your family quite a bit and your kids. I know your kids look up to daddy. Wow, daddy's a chef. Daddy has a restaurant. Who does Lamont look up to?
Oh man, there's, my sister, my brothers, my mom, but I'm always trying to look up to see who I am. So it's it's just like when somebody says, "What's your favorite food?" It's all time driven. What am I going to eat? Where am I eating? I don't know. There's just so many people that I look up to.
Okay.
I can't just point any one or two people out because I kind of try to keep the people in my life that I look up to. So if you're in my life, I look up to you one way or another.
Wow, I love it. One thing I didn't want to touch upon was your dynamic between your staff, maybe some of the challenges that you may have, maybe some of the successes that you may have. With that family dynamic, it does have its pros and cons. And like if there's different styles of managing, right? And I think that you and I have a very similar style, and we're almost linear with everyone. Like what I tell my staff is that, like, technically I'm your boss, but that's not our relationship. Yes. We're all here for the same reason, in serving guests and providing an amazing experience. Yep. I just have a lot more responsibility than you under this roof, but we're all equals. We're all humans working towards the same goal, right? And that has, there are its challenges with that as well when it comes to respect or how far they can bend the rules. But then there's also its pros when it comes to how honest they are with you and the communication. Absolutely. And then also the respect when it goes the other way, when it's like, I will go to battle with you side by side, right? What are some of the challenges that you may have with your current staff or also the new generation of employees?
I think, like you said, the biggest challenge is trying to draw that line and having an invisible line. I tell my cooks in the back, like, my name's Lamont, it's not chef. And I know some chefs that you better not call them by their name. So I want to be linear with them. I want to let them know we're all equals because, they work just as hard as I do. And I basically tell them the only difference between you and I is I pay the bills. That's it. Other than that, we all have the same goal. We're all doing the same thing. And I guess the hardest part about that is because you care so much about the staff, sometimes you might get too involved in their lives. I'm constantly telling my staff, if your car breaks down, if you can't make rent, if you have boyfriend or girlfriend issues, whatever, like, let me know, because I'm not trying to butt into your life, but when you come to work, I want you here. I don't want you to have to worry about all the outside noise. So, and in doing that, sometimes you become too close. And then once you get past whatever situation they had, now they think they could get away with a lot more shit and kind of use other family issues as an excuse not to show up to work or to take time off. And it's like, I know what you're doing, man. I'm like, pull back a little bit. So, that's the hard thing, is just trying to balance that double-edged sword.
Yes, definitely. And it's more difficult in a smaller operation with less bodies, or a smaller pool of bodies. So one person being out, your prep guy, because of this or because of that or because of this, that's huge for a small operation.
The cool thing is, like, right now I don't have a general manager at Maya's, and, scheduling is always a big issue. So what I did with the front of the house and even the back of the house, I said, here's what we're going to do. This is your schedule forever. As long as you work here, this is your schedule. And if you want time off, I don't care. Just tell me who's going to cover your shift. So the staff loves it, because now they have freedom. They know when they're going to work next month. They know when they're going to work next summer. So it's like they're all planning trips, and it's like, hey, if I cover you this time, will you cover me this time? And it's like, and it's cool to see them figure out their problems on their own without me having to figure it out for them, because it builds more camaraderie, and, it just makes everybody's life easier.
Wow.
So, that's just what I do. I just give them a set schedule, and, basically if you want to take time off and, Joe's going to cover you or whatever, all I want is for you and Joe to send me a text saying, hey, hey, chef, I'm taking off these days and Joe's going to cover me, but Joe has to be on the text so I can see that he knows, so he can't later on say he didn't know. And I'll be like, all right, cool. And that's it. And, they just cover each other's, they get each other's back, and they do their thing.
Wow. Maya's.
And I don't have to sit back and spend 30 minutes trying to figure out scheduling.
Yeah. Yeah. Shoot, man. I got about almost 90 front of the house employees that I'm scheduling. Old school style Excel sheet, paper request off. But I don't know, there's something fulfilling about it, because, you're scheduling people's livelihoods and their ability to support their families and themselves. So I feel like there's a lot of responsibility in it. And when I get done with a schedule every week, I feel real gratified. And it's also a part of the job that, nobody else really understands.
Exactly.
Right? Everybody look from the outside. Can't you just get the schedules out? It's like, well, there's a lot of intention that goes on in scheduling people's livelihoods.
100%.
Yeah, man. So, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or is that too far in advance?
Well, we're going back to the whole ebb and flow about restaurant industry. When I signed the lease to the Fix, I said I had a 4-year plan. I was going to put 4 years into it. And, like I said, luckily Maya's is running itself right now. It's running itself right now through the staff, and they're doing great. So I was like, we've been open 7 years. I could do this over here in 4 years, and then I could just sit back and relax.
Yeah.
But here we are, 2 years after we were supposed to open. So, I just want to see myself blessed in 5 years. That's it. I don't know where I'll be. Of course, everybody likes to say they would be on vacation or retired and all this, but you just got to take what the Lord gives us and just be grateful and just move forward. So
yeah,
I would just like to say that I'll still be blessed in 5 years.
Okay. You gave some really good answers today, brother. One last thing I want to address is what kind of advice would you give to anybody that aspires to open their own restaurant?
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it, man. It's like nobody thought I could open up a restaurant. And, for a long time, I didn't think I could either. But when I knew I had to support my family and I knew I wanted to be a family man, I knew I had to do it. So, don't listen to the outside noise. Just do it. And, just know you're going to fail at some point or another. But don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as a learning point. And, failing doesn't mean you failed unless you give up and stop right there. Because I failed many a times, but I pushed forward. So I didn't fail. But I felt like I failed at the time. So, if anybody wants to open up a business or open up a restaurant, I say just do it. There's going to be a lot of low times, but there's also going to be a lot of high times. But at the end of the day, as long as you keep going, you'll end up breaking the pattern. You know, so you just gotta keep going.
Well, I love that.